Shalom, let's talk about this week's Parsha called Parshat Shmini. Shmini means 8. So in Israel were now free people. They received Torah on Har Sinai and they received instructions how to build the Mishkan. And they donated lots of materials to build it. And they built all the parts for the tent. And they made all the beautiful objects to put inside the Mishkan. And they brought everything to Moshe. And Moshe was supposed to set it up. So now, for 7 days, Moshe was setting up the Mishkan and then taking it down. So one day he would set it up, take it down. And the next day he would set it up and take it down. The Shekhinah, Hashem's presence, was not there yet. So he kept doing it, setting it up and taking it down. And then finally, on the 8th day, Moshe set up the Mishkan and the Kohanim brought the animal karbanot and put it on the big mizbech. And the miracle happened. The fire from Shemayim came down and burned the karbanot. And people got very excited because they realized that Hashem was pleased with how they built the Mishkan. And then the Shekhinah, Hashem's presence, came down. It was on the Mishkan from that time on. But then something sad happened. You remember that Aaron was Moshe's brother and Aaron was the Kohen Gadol. And Aaron had sons and Aaron's sons were Kohanim, people who were supposed to do special avodah, service for Hashem in the Mishkan. So Aaron's 2 oldest sons, Nadav and Abihu, wanted to bring a present for Hashem. They wanted to bring ketoret, spices, for the mizbech that was in the Kodesh HaKodashim, the holiest room in the Mishkan. So they brought the present, but they made a mistake. Hashem didn't give them permission to bring this present like this. So, unfortunately, they died as a punishment. It was very sad. But now, Israel realized how important the service for Hashem is. And it's very, very important to do it only how Hashem tells us to do it. In this Parsha Shmini, we learn about kosher and non-kosher animals. Do you know how to tell if an animal is kosher or not kosher? There are 2 signs. The first sign is that a kosher animal should have split toes. They should be completely split. And the second sign, a kosher animal should chew its cud. What does it mean? Hashem made a special way so these animals have 4 stomachs. They don't have front teeth, so when they get food in their mouth, first they don't chew it well. They just cut it, and it goes into their first and second stomachs. And then it gets pushed back to their mouth. And now they chew it well, and then it goes back down to their third and finally to the 4th stomachs. So this is called Ma'ale Gira. The second sign, Ma'ale Gira. A kosher animal should have both of these signs. It's not enough to have one. For example, a pig has split toes. but it does not chew its cud. And this is how we know that a pig is not kosher. But a cow is kosher. Cow has split toes and it chews its cud. But look at the camel. Does a camel have split toes? It looks like it, but the truth is that a camel has split toes that are not completely split. They're just partially split. It doesn't count. So camel is not kosher. But a sheep is kosher, and a goat is kosher, but a rabbit is not kosher, right? And now Torah tells us which birds are not kosher, like an owl or a raven or a stork. Those birds are not kosher, the Torah tells us. But do you know which birds we can eat? Of course, we can eat chicken and we can eat turkey. And then Torah tells us which fish we can eat and which fish we can't eat. So fish that's not kosher does not have scales or fins. For example, a catfish is not kosher. And a shark is not kosher. We can't eat those. But there are lots of other yummy fish that we can eat. That's kosher because it has scales and fins. And Torah also tells us that we can't eat insects. And do you know that some vegetables and some fruit and berries might have insects in them? So we have to check that. For example, before you eat lettuce, you need to look very, very careful and see if there are any insects. Even like small insects, we can't eat them. So we need to make sure that when we eat fruit and vegetables and green leaves, that there are no insects, then we can eat those. So this is we all learn in this week's Parsha, Parshat Shmini. Shabbat Shalom.